What's up, y'all? What's up, Chicago? It's your man, Maze Jackson. We are about to get ready to go live. It is the Maze Said Video Podcast. Getting ready. I got my man, Charles Thomas, getting ready to do his thing.
Just back from St. Louis.
All right, y'all. So get set. I think we got... He's not the intern anymore. He is still Junebug, though. We got Derek Bryan in the building. Look, we got the whole staff. We doing our thing. Y'all ready? We getting ready. So get ready. Share the broadcast. If you are watching live, I need you to share the broadcast. Share it live. Let everybody know. Let them watch with us. It's your man, Maze Jackson, getting ready to do our thing. All right. You know, we got a new theme song, too.
Where is that like a little tripod?
This way. All right, what's up to my beautiful, lovely wife, Commissioner Carrie Steele? What's up to my sister, Tennille Jackson? Tennille, what's up? I think we still trying to get that meeting, right, Charles? What's up, Rick Good? What's up, Christopher Scott? And yes, Derek, you are media manager.
Is there something here, man, that I need to know about?
No. Somebody thought it was a Bible earlier today.
And, you know, I'm always about some word.
Hey man, that's right, cause you go to club church.
That's right.
Charles goes to club church with what's my man?
Pastor John Hanna.
John Hanna.
New Life Covenant Southeast. Pastor John Hanna. That's what they say. You know, when you introduce your church home, you say the name of it, and then you give the pastor's name. And
then do you have to say giving thanks to? Do you say giving honor to God?
That's right, brother.
I don't think you can give.
And staying right with it and tithing.
You know you got the tithe.
Very important.
Wouldn't be a black church, no tithe.
Very important. Well, no. Look, man. Before I tithe, I made a lot of money, but didn't have any money. Started tithing, man, the world changed.
My mama says that same
thing.
True.
It's
you
true.
know, I try to.
You just have to try it. That's all.
I tithe with my talent.
I
try to tithe with my talent.
Maze Jackson, I'm gonna walk you. I'm gonna walk you one day. I'm gonna walk you, man. You know that.
Walk me down the aisle.
Do a project. I'm gonna
the Lord, He gonna walk me down the aisle.
I'm gonna walk you, brother. Man.
Y'all like getting some behind the scenes. Good time religion.
Well, no, you know what I'm saying?
Old time religion.
Lord, forgive him, for he knows not what
they
does.
do. Forgive them, Lord, but he knows
forgive
not.
Him, Lord.
Hold, gentlemen.
You know, he's a project. We're gonna bring him home. There you go.
I love it. Thank you.
Are y'all ready?
No.
We got about 3 minutes.
We got about 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Oh, I forgot.
All right, we got 3 minutes. So if you are out there, I need you all to do me a favor. Take one moment and share the broadcast. Can you share it with your friends? Can you share it with your family? Share it with your neighbors. You saw we was giving you the good word. We gave you the good word today. I'm trying to get my internets. What's up with my internets? Not home ain't nasty green. I'm on the CBC network. All right, y'all. Y'all ready? All right, I need everybody. Take a moment. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast and share the broadcast. Ricky, have you shared this for me?
Yes, I did.
Guys, we have on less than 2 minutes before it's time to go live. So in that 2 minutes, can I get as many shares as possible? Y'all ready? Who is ready to get? I'm ready to get it cracking. I always love when I got Charles Thomas in the thing, man.
Man, look, I love to be here, man, because this is important stuff that we need to talk about.
Man, and I don't think we ever give you. I don't think a minute gives you the 3-minute segment that they give you does you justice, man. I think people don't really get a full sense of what the story
Did
is.
you get this part from Flint?
I got it from the Broadview Dunkin' Donuts. What's floating in it is the
It's
particles.
kind of, no, maybe it was a tone of
The
the
bottom.
light, the way the light's playing. 'Cause
Okay,
it
maybe
looked
it's
like,
about that time, man.
it
It's
looked
about
like-
that time.
It's about that time. Let's make
All
it.
right, let me get this shared. Do we have this on the Maze Jackson page?
Yeah, I just shared. I'm gonna go live from there too.
Okay. You going live from the Maze Jackson page, or you sharing the broadcast on?
I'm gonna go live. I shared it on there too, and I'm gonna go live from that page.
Okay, good.
Man, I don't know any of this stuff.
All right, here we go, y'all. Here we go. Go ahead and get it.
What's going on, man? Alright.
What's the steelo? Keep it real. I want it full price. Hold your deal. Let's chop it up quick. I gotta bust a move. Fat cats, chatty patty, sounding like fools. Tie around my neck, still take them all to school. Don't be fooled by the shiny looking dress shoes. On my 1, 2, stick to my little.
I need y'all to share this broadcast if you're watching live.
Kids still politically wrong. But gotta take it for my people, even if I'm wrong. But never that, I'm here to take my respect. You can try to shortchange the kid, know that I'm coming for your neck. Let's talk real for a second. With Maze Jack, hold the creamer. I like my coffee straight black. They don't hear me though, they don't see the hustle.
This is original music.
This is him.
That sounds good, man. That's June, huh?
What you wanna know? What's in it for the
That's Junebug.
June.
I'm too legit, you got a problem with it, you can tell him Maze said it.
What's up, Chicago? It's your man Maze Jackson live in the building. You are tuned into the Maze Said Video Podcast. We are doing our thing once again like we do at this time every Monday night from 8 to 9 in the building. I got my main man. Now let me just tell y'all. I got my main man, Charlie T, in the building. Excuse me. See, this is your alter ego.
Right.
See, when you come over here, we make you Charlie T,
Oh,
so
really?
you can be anonymous, and we can have your alter ego going on, so you can
Alter
keep
ego.
Yeah, your alter
Okay,
ego.
okay.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
No, ladies and gentlemen, as always, a pleasure to be in the building. Mr. Charles Thomas in the building. Charles, thank you for being out today. What's going on, man?
Man, look, it's I'm a little tired tonight because I spent I spent the weekend in St. Louis
What?
at Washington University for the presidential debate.
Look,
I was right there with him.
see, you the man, man.
Yeah,
You are the man.
yeah.
Charles Thomas is the man.
Yeah.
So you are just literally getting back off of a plane
Just
and
getting
you had the
basic. Well, I
debate.
had to go to work today, and after I got off the plane, but you called and said you wanted to talk about it, and to me it's cathartic. You get that?
It's a cathartic.
Yeah.
What's with the big words, man?
Well, you got
Cathartic.
to do
See,
that. Man. People say that all the time. I've had editors say to me, "Hey, you can't use the word because nobody understands it." I said, "Well, if I use it in the right context, then maybe they will understand it, and I would have taught somebody a new word." But this is sort of a release. When I say cathartic, I mean it is a release. To be able to talk about it, you can sort of release it and sort of get over it. Because I'm telling you, watching Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton debate can be a overwhelming experience. It can just take you places you never thought you'd go as a political reporter.
did you feel like you needed a shower after this?
A shower. You needed it like one of those, after the radioactive thing when they give you.
They hold you down.
Oh, yeah. It's because they're talking about stuff that what? They're talking about I think Bill Clinton, Trump before it even started. Donald Trump brought out these 4 women who are people with whom former President Bill Clinton had some liaison. That's another big word.
Liaison.
So
Liaison.
I don't know what else to say. I can't say that.
Well, they didn't say liaison, though. See, liaison implies.
So in the street they might even say they were, but
They were.
I'm not gonna do it because I can't. 'Cause
I'm the straight. Oh, you the straight guy.
No,
I'm the straight guy.
I'm the straight guy.
Oh, you the straight guy. Okay. So these liaisons, apparently, according to Donald Trump and the accusers, were not necessarily mutually agreed upon.
Well, they were not. They were not. They were extramarital.
They were extramarital,
relationships that Bill Clinton had in the past, and some of them were saying that he had been somewhat abusive, either psychologically or physically, to them during those periods. And Donald, of course, was trying to defend himself because of the things that he said or that were revealed that he said in 2005. They had been revealed 2 days earlier. So this was sort of a defense mechanism. He was trying to be somewhat preemptory.
Now, for those of us that have been under a rock, who do not know what has happened, what is up in the latest Donald Trump scandal, and why do I keep hearing this locker room being tossed around?
Well, Donald Trump didn't do anything Friday. In fact, he did this 10 years ago, 11 years ago, in 2005. He was taping a program, and he was mic'd. He had a wireless mic on him.
Okay.
And the wireless mic was picking up everything that he said on this bus as he was moving from one location to another. And he was talking to the host of the program, or one of the hosts. And they were talking about, saw a nice looking woman.
Okay.
And so they were talking about, man, she's fine. You know, look at that. Woo, woo. And Donald was saying some things about.
He said like Humpty Hump. I'll grab her in the biscuit. Hey. Right.
He said something like that. He would
dance.
He said something about. He said something about how women. He made some general comments about women, about how if you're a star, like, I guess he was.
Yes.
Or he thought he.
Right. Well, Donald
Yeah.
Trump is a star.
Yeah, okay. And he said that you can go up and you can kiss them if you want to, and they're not going to do anything. And he also even said he could go so far as to even grab a woman by her genitalia. That's another big word.
Genitalia.
Genitalia.
For those of you that don't know, he said he would grab them by their vajayjay. Correct.
Okay.
And
but anyway, he said this, and that's technically, man. If you try to kiss a woman and she doesn't want to do it, and you keep persistent, or you grab a woman by her genitalia, that's sexual assault. In most places, virtually everywhere in the United States of America. So he was bragging about this on this tape.
On this tape. Now help me understand the tape.
We didn't see him do anything like that.
Right.
But
and he's
he
denied
was talking
that he's
about.
done it.
He's talking about, like, this is what I'm just. I got it like that. I'm
Donald Trump.
I'm Donald Trump. I can do this.
I get, so let me ask a question. So now,
it causes quite a controversy.
It caused quite a controversy because of what he said or what he did.
He says what he said, because he said he didn't do anything. In fact, that's what he said during the debate. Now, keep in mind that a media firestorm, erupted right after he said this last Friday.
Right.
And this is 2 days or 48 hours before the debate with Hillary Clinton. And he had foreshadowed in previous comments prior to these revelations that he was going to bring up Bill Clinton's affairs and such in the debate.
This seems like just a no-win situation for anybody.
Oh, I think.
Why are we talking? Charles, and I just don't understand how anybody can win in the sex chronicles, because I think no matter what Donald Trump does, he can pull out a story that they is gonna pull, and they're gonna match tit for tat.
Keep in mind that
Keep
in mind that in the political game, I don't care if you're running for congressman, for U.S. senator, for president, for alderman, there are people assigned to do what's called opposition research. And these are people staffs of people getting paid money to go find dirt on you. And they knew this stuff was out there. They knew this was there. Just like they knew in this reporter's assessment that Donald Trump had this tax issue that we talked about last week, about where Donald Trump hadn't paid taxes for like 18 years, federal taxes, federal income taxes. They knew that. So they're leaking this stuff on Donald Trump as we go in order to damage him politically, just as Donald Trump is finding out information about Hillary Clinton that he can leak selectively as the campaign goes on. But his information, like he did this thing last week where he said Hillary Clinton was saying one thing to a group of bankers and another thing publicly.
Right.
And he has a record of what she said to the bankers.
Right. But this
Man, we don't even know.
Grab him in the biscuit.
That's nothing compared to, as you say.
Grab him in the biscuit.
Grab him in the biscuit, as you say. Yeah, there's nothing compared to that. I mean, everybody's going to talk about the biscuit thing and not about the WikiLeaks.
The WikiLeaks
thing.
But you know, Charles, a while back we talked and we said this WikiLeaks thing is going to be something. And
we found out it was nothing. Because let's face it, in a vacuum, it may have been something. If we didn't have the...
Do you think that's it?
Huh?
Do you think that's it?
You know, I'm thinking that it might be, and I'll tell you why. Because early voting has started in most places in the country. And if they've got an October surprise, if
it's
Trump,
October.
It's October, and we're 10 days into October. In fact, tomorrow, the voting starts. That's election day, 4 weeks from tomorrow, and we still haven't heard the big bombshell yet come out of the Trump campaign that can destroy Hillary Clinton. So maybe it's not there.
Now let me ask a question. In the grand scheme of things, so I got a couple questions on this, and then we're gonna move off of this Trump thing. But so Charles, with the Donald Trump thing, was what he said terrible?
You know, I think we've had myself and my crew. We had some just incredible conversations about this because we were three guys on the road. Two of us were like around my age, and one of them, the producer, was like 30, and the guy, myself and the cameraman, who were older brothers, we said, man, some of the conversations we've had, if they were recorded, man, I mean, not that we weren't talking about assaulting anybody, believe me,
right?
None of that. But I mean, we talk about women all the time. We talk about women constantly. We playing cards, man. We talk about women. We playing basketball. We're, between runs, we talk about women. We talk about women a lot.
Right.
And I think women might, if those conversations ever were made public, I think maybe some women might even be offended by some of the conversations. But the younger guy who was with us said, we never, I don't do that. I don't talk about women like that. We never talk about women. I said, what do you talk about? Well, we don't talk about women like that. Then I went on campus at Washington University.
Okay.
And I started talking to some of the kids on campus. 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old, man, you just talk about 18.
Come on, 18, 19, 20. Now, y'all
That's all we talked about was women. These kids were saying, no, we would never, ever, ever talk about a woman in a sexual way. Absolutely. These are kids.
I was like, man.
I said,
are they sweet?
And one of them said, I said, hey, man, are you in a fraternity? Yeah. And he said, in the frat house, you all aren't like talking about
what
women.
y'all doing out for? Watch the football.
And the guy said, no. And I said, really? And I felt, for a moment, I felt like, man, what's wrong with me? And then a beautiful woman walked by and I went, whoa. Oh, sorry. But that it's a generational thing, and a lot of younger males in this country, because I think they have been exposed to a different. They don't objectify women because they realize they're going to be working alongside women. They're going to be working for women, with women, so they don't deal with women on that level that perhaps guys did when I was their age.
Got it. So they don't expect them to cook and clean. And all that
Absolutely.
stuff.
I mean, that's like not even, their moms don't. So they're not into that whole notion, cook or clean, but even the other stuff, you know what I mean? They just aren't objectifying them. Now, Donald Trump, on the other hand, let's face it, he ran the what? Miss Universe pageant, or he owned that for a while? Talk about objectifying women. Give me a break. I mean, that's like the ultimate objectification of women.
I mean, don't women want to be objectified though?
Oh, come on, I don't want to go in that conversation.
I'm just saying.
That's for the
what
show
are
that
the-
just
what
went
are
off.
the when they wear those very short skirts?
Well, that's for the show
and they
that
get,
just.
you know,
man, I ain't going there,
augmentations
man.
and
Not
high
gonna go there,
heels,
man. I'm
and
just-
they dress uncomfortably, right? Where they
I-
wear clothes and
I-
things that
you
they
know,
don't feel that are. They say, "Girl,
I learned. Look,
y'all rather look good
man,
than
look.
feel good." Is
Ladies,
that an attempt
ladies,
to be objectified?
I learned something this weekend about this whole issue and what you can and cannot do in America's early 21st century culture and the objectification of women. And I have daughters and granddaughters, and I am happy that this kind of attitude, you know, persists among younger men now, because that gives my daughters and granddaughters a better chance not to be objectified.
Right, but then the same dude won't open the door for it either. Right.
Well, I mean,
right.
True
so
that.
then
That's
you won't be
true.
chivalrous, and then
You
you're
won't
gonna be
be
mad because you're gonna be
chivalry.
sitting
Yeah,
around
it
like,
could be,
"Hey, homie,
thing of the
get the
past.
door. You see my
Definitely.
wife? You see my daughter over there?"
right.
And
That's
he
true.
gonna honk at the
That's
door,
right.
and she gonna come running down instead of.
You know,
See, I didn't know
that's the
this.
drawback. But this is a new attitude. And a lot of these young men were just as outraged that I talked to and Wash U were just as outraged by Donald Trump's comments and what he said he would do as the young women were.
What kind of men are we raising these days? Boy, I tell you. Hey, you are tuned into the May Said Video Podcast with my guest, Charles Thomas. Give us a call. 708-223-8953. You can also catch us on iHeart. We are an iHeart radio station. You can download the podcast. We are in the studio talking politics. So we just did a little bit of national politics. Let's break it down to a little local politics. So, Brother Thomas, I know you were out of town this weekend, but while you were gone, did you happen to catch the story about the Cook County Commissioners appointing top Madigan Lieutenant Ed Moody to the Cook County Board of Review?
Well, I mean, you know, we hear about so many things that come from the top echelon of the Democratic Party and sort of flow down. I mean, you've obviously connected some dots there.
So I have connected some dots. So it seems as though Cook County Commissioner Joan Murphy passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was suddenly, but she passed away. God rest her soul. And so there was some desire, or there was the process in which the Cook County committeemen appoint the predecessor. I mean not the predecessor.
Well, that's the
but
Cook County Democratic Party, right? And the weighted.
Well, it's actually the Cook County, only the people that are affected by our district. So let me explain the process. So what we know is that when the Cook County Commissioner Joan Murphy died, then there is a process in which they take resumes or recommendations of submissions of people who would like to be considered for the position.
Right.
It is then the decision of the Cook County committeemen who have votes in that particular district.
And they have weighted votes.
And the votes are weighted. So for those of us that for our listeners and viewers that don't know what weighted vote is, explain that.
Well, that means that if you're a committee member,
committeeman,
your weighted vote is based on the number of votes you were able to turn out in that year's primary election. Democrats. How many Democrats could you turn out? So the most heavily weighted vote Democratic committeeman in Cook County is Frank Zuccarelli in Thornton Township.
Now wait, Thornton Township, is that where Harvey and that's in the south suburbs?
And these Democrats are predominantly African American. That is the most heavily voted Democratic subdivision, if you will, in the state of Illinois. I mean, that's the mother lode of votes, and those are black votes that, you know, and they're turning them out for a Democratic candidate, 95% for a Democratic candidate.
So then, Charles, how does, in a race like that, a white guy get elected?
Well, but I don't know that Joan Murphy's district is within such a demographic area. Now, there was a movement, I know, the Rich Township committee man, Tim Bradford, was trying to replace that person with an African American.
So Tim Bradford,
he failed, I believe.
okay, so Tim Bradford, he did fail. So let me back up. Let's not say he failed. So here's what we got. We got, because I was a little hot when I found out, because when I read in the paper and when I read the story, I was under the impression that Committeeman Bradford had the weighted vote to determine who would be the next person. But really, he only had the weighted vote to chair the meeting.
Okay.
Right? And so
Okay.
with only having the ability to chair the meeting, so he had enough votes to chair it, but he didn't have the collective votes to place. And I believe that candidate was Donna Miller, wife of former state
Former
representative
state
and comptroller candidate
Right.
David Miller. So who the committeeman or the townships?
See, Mays, you're going someplace now that is much bigger than this thing. You're talking about the south suburbs of Cook County.
The south suburbs.
That is where the Democratic Party's whip is. That is those voters there determine what happens. They elect your county board president. They elect your circuit.
In the south suburbs?
The south suburbs, man, is the most heavily voted Democratic area now, even more so than the city, than the, especially when you talk about the votes going 90-95%.
So you talking about we running up pluralities in the south suburbs?
Ooh, pluralities.
So
in
it's
the south
really
suburbs, we run up majorities.
Wait, so are you suggesting that the south suburbs is what carries the Democratic Party through thick and thin?
In the state of Illinois, thank you.
In the state of Illinois.
If you split the black vote in Thornton Township, for instance, Illinois might not have, certainly a Democrat couldn't win statewide. This is the power source. But what my point is that African Americans don't control politics down there.
So what I don't understand is how do black people control the vote, have the numbers of votes, but don't control the politics? So I'm gonna kick a little science.
You kick it now. You know, you're going places.
So we're gonna kick a little
Yeah,
science,
you know,
because
you're like Star Trek now.
if the state of if the south suburbs, where all the black people who are leaving the city and moving to, control the Democratic Party around
Well,
the
they
state.
don't control the Democratic Party.
No, but they control
The
who
vote.
gets the
Who
votes
gets
and who
elected.
gets elected. Why aren't we in power? Let's talk about the affected townships. So we got Work Township, we got Bremen Township. Both of those are white people.
Well, yeah.
Bloom, represented by a white person. Did you know that? Then you got Orland, Rich, Thornton, and Worth. Did you know that Tim Bradford is the only black
That's what I'm
committeeman in the
talking
south suburbs?
That's what I'm
So
talking
when
about. And you know the one I was telling you about, Thornton Township, which is the number one vote generator in the state for the Democrats, it's not represented by an African American, although it's a majority black township. But Frank Zuccarelli has been the committee man there for many, many years. He runs Thornton.
is it Frank Zuccarelli Washington?
No, it's Frank Zuccarelli.
Frank Zuccarelli Jackson?
No, it's Frank Zuccarelli.
Gotta be Frank Zuccarelli Johnson.
I don't know what part of Italy his ancestral.
He gotta be from
Oh,
Sicily,
from,
man.
Sicily.
He better be from Sicily. With all those black people in Harvey, and Robbins and all. Wait, you mean to tell me that the mother load of the votes that carry the whole joint, the whole, just make it happen.
Yeah.
Black people don't control that.
No, but they're not the top. They're not the top. Frank runs the show, but black folks, but his constituency is overwhelmingly African American.
Now, how does that happen?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't live there. I just look at the numbers and I see, and you know, Frank gives a great picnic every year. He gives a picnic out in the park, man.
How ironic he gives a picnic.
He does, man.
Do you know what the origins of picnic?
Frank, I know.
What's the origins of picnic?
Picnic.
Oh, I'm straight. You straight guy, I'm straight guy.
No, I can't say that word.
Picnic.
Picnic.
Picnic. Nicka.
Dude, watch it.
Picnic.
Picnic. That's Italian for it, isn't it?
That's Italian.
Picnic.
But picnic.
Yeah, picnic. But that's he has a great picnic, and he is.
Don't he have a music show? Something doesn't got. Don't he have a concert venue or something?
Well,
that's Dwight.
No, that's a Tinley Park.
No, that's not Tinley Park. That's
that's the guy
black
in
people got dancing.
yeah, what's his name?
Where they make the
I think he's
songs.
got some problems too.
Country Club Hills. Country Club Hills where the black
Yeah,
people
Welch.
get the dance.
Welch.
You know they get
They
they get the
Mayor
dance.
Welch. Is he
Okay.
still mayor? There in Country Club Hills?
Is he not still the mayor? You sure?
He's not.
Okay, we got to check
But
that
he
out.
had a big concert
Big
venue out there.
picnic too?
But anyway, Frank gives a great picnic. Frank does some other things. He does like a clinic, a free clinic at the Thornton Township Hall. He is.
So that's where we trade all our political power.
He's very involved, but the political power. But there are, you know.
Do black people work for him?
Hmm?
Does he have black
He
people
has
working
some
for him?
spokes. I know the spokesperson, Bill Storman was he passed. The late Bill Storman was his spokesperson for many years. I can't remember the name of the guy who's doing it now, but he has some people working for him. But it's about political power. I mean, he's very connected to the county party, which of course is connected to, you know, that's Joe Barrios is the chairman of the county party, and he's connected very much so to the state chairman, Michael Madigan. And so
He's chairman of the state party where the state with the worst employment for black people in the entire...
the highest unemployment rate in America is in Illinois. We talked about that last week, and I hope people file that away.
How is it possible? You know, I was just watching The Birth of a Nation yesterday, and I just don't understand. You know, I think the most enlightening moment in that whole movie was when the brothers were scared to revolt, and they was like, how many slaves is on the plantation and how many masters? Charles, I don't understand. How is it that we don't control our own politics out there?
Well, you know, I mean, that's...
Is that a vote?
Well, you know, the thing is, I mean, you can't really, Maze, you know, I think what you can have you can have a position, and you can be black as a new locomotive, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to do a great job for black people. I mean, I was reading an article about Clarence Thomas, the Supreme Court Justice, who is given virtually no mention in the new Museum of African American History in Washington, because I guess the people who put the museum together said he ain't done nothing for black people, so why should he have a prominent place here?
Ain't he black and ain't he in the Supreme Court?
He's black and he's in the Supreme Court. So
too,
just
right?
because you're black doesn't mean that you're going to basically serve the needs of black people. I think that the question that has to be asked is what's happening to black people and for black people. I mean, in the south suburbs or in the city of Chicago, or for that matter in the state of Illinois. I mean, you look at this highest unemployment rate in the country? In the country?
They beat
higher
Mississippi.
than Mississippi? I mean, come on, Alabama? You mean Illinois is, I mean, you know, we won the race to the bottom. So then you have to start asking who's in charge. I don't care if they're black, if they're white, if they're Asian, if they're whatever, they're not serving black people. But what's really tragic about it is when you see African Americans show up in 95% majorities to vote for some of these people, to keep some of these people in power, who basically have fostered this horrible situation. That's what you ask about. And what are the choices that African Americans are making? Whether those the ones they choose or whatever.
What do you think is the
Racist.
science behind it?
Hmm?
I mean, what do you think is the science behind the? I don't know anybody black that thinks things are good, but I don't know anybody black that is proposing doing anything different.
Well, that's the issue. I mean, it's particularly distressing when you look at Chicago State University and you see what's happening there, and you don't see any African American public officials walking point on that issue. I mean, this just sort of happened, and the university is just going completely down the tubes, and you don't see anybody stepping forward to cut some kind of deal to save it.
Why?
We saw that happen. I mean, remember when Ken Duncan had a deal with the governor
To save Chicago.
to save Chicago State, and the black politicians basically wouldn't get behind it because they had
Mars said.
well, remember, I'm all punishment now.
Oh, right.
So,
Okay. So sorry.
Because
One
the
more
powers that be in the party would not allow them to support this governor who was trying to do something to
save our
Chicago,
university.
save our historically black university. This is our equivalent of saying here in Illinois, he was trying to do something to save it, and the other politicians who were not African American told the African American politicians to stay away from that effort. And you see where we are today. In other words, once they stayed away from that effort, the powers that be, sort of dropped it and didn't do anything, and now we see that Chicago State might be a few months from not existing. I mean, this is bad over there.
Is it that bad?
It's that bad, man. I mean, they only had 86 freshmen enrolled in the college. That's horrible. You can't survive like that.
I mean, is nobody asking? No one is asking about
I haven't heard it. I mean, I certainly haven't reported it, and I don't know where the media source is that we have in Black Chicago, if you will, that would basically tell the story of what's happening. It's also this whole business about this. Okay, we talked about the unemployment problem in the African American community being number one. The governor, months ago, before he was browbeaten to death, wanted to do this so-called empowerment zone business, would basically be a right to work area in certain areas that had the worst unemployment. You would think that the African American state reps and senators would get behind something like that, particularly if it targeted their districts where the unemployment rate was absolutely off the
Man, are you
charts.
crazy?
But they wouldn't do it because
The unions are paying.
the unions basically, who are patrons of the Democratic Party, said we can't have that happen because that'll open the door, and then
for Negroes to work.
for unions to be discounted in Illinois. So we can't have that happen. Okay, but what else you got? That's the question. But you see the African American politicians basically parroting the party line, which is don't do it because you're opening the door to kill unions. They're parroting the party line when their people, the people in their districts, have no place to work.
Now, Charles, and it seems like everywhere else I go, people are working. Black people seem to be working in other places.
I can only talk about that anecdotally
Mhm.
because I don't have the numbers, but I spent some time in Philadelphia during the Democratic National Convention. I saw black people working. I saw them doing construction. I saw them working in the hotels. I saw them working in restaurants, places like that. I went to St. Louis over the weekend for the debate. Whole staff was African American, virtually. I saw people working at Washington University, even if they were like cleaning up after the press. But I saw a lot of black. In fact, my cameraman and I, we said, "Man, there's a lot of black people working down here, doing jobs." Come to Chicago, go to a hotel in Chicago. You don't see too many black folks working. You don't see too many black folks working in restaurants, and you see virtually none on construction sites.
Who do you see?
Hmm?
Oh, I mean, you the straight guy. So, you know, I see a lot of people working though.
There are a lot
There are
of
a
people
lot
working.
of
We have
people working,
a
it
very
just doesn't
large, we have a
seem-
very large immigrant community in Chicago that is
Taking
doing a lot of the
advantage of
service
our-
jobs. Doing a lot of the service jobs that I saw being done in St. Louis by African Americans. Now I don't know where that goes, but I saw that, and in Philadelphia, I actually saw a lot of black people with hard hats on, actually, doing construction work. Here, you don't see that at all. That's
You know what you
very
see
true.
with black people on, you know what the number one job for the black man on a construction site is?
Believe it, the sign.
The sign dude.
The sign.
Right, stop.
The sign. It's usually, and you know what?
Then he turn around and he take
And you
that
know who
job
is?
serious.
That's a black woman too.
Oh, double trouble. They get the double. They get a twofer. They get a sister, and they get and she. You know, I'm just saying. You know, if you go to the construction site,
It's true.
the black man is gonna do the sign. Now, them good jobs, because you know they
Those
always
are
tell
excellent
us.
jobs. Those are jobs you can buy a house, you can send a kid to college, you can do a lot of things with a job that pays you $40, $50 an hour, and you can have a middle class
Well, how
lifestyle.
come with job? But we got unions, but our jobs are still. How come the jobs in our unions seem
Well,
to be
you know,
$9-10 an hour jobs?
Well, there are a lot of, like, it's really interesting because when the labor movement needs troops, well, listen, they go to the SEIU, the Service Employees International Union, and they get a lot of black folks out there who are making, as you say, $10, $12 an hour.
How
to
much
be
they
home
gotta
care-
pay back? How much
home
they
care
gotta
people.
pay back up to the
Home
to
care
the man.
people. And you have AFSCME, which is the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. They have significant numbers of African Americans. These are government, public sector unions. And my father worked for the post office, which was a public sector union. And you have teachers, which is a public sector union. And the public sector unions are, there would be no black middle class if there weren't for the public sector unions. I mean, they have done a yeoman's job in terms of involving black people, but those are the lesser paying jobs too, union jobs. The best paying union jobs are in the skilled trades, which we get none of, but we get a significant portion of those jobs that are in the public sector unions. Now,
But why does it seem like those trade unions invest so heavily in the politics that involve the black community?
well, the black community, that is very interesting because the
They
black,
I mean, because they
the
don't
black
hire a
community-
lot of black folks.
Yeah, but see, the
they
black
sure
community-
got a lot of money to put in elections in our community.
Well, they did in this one of these elections. I know the one you're talking about, but generally speaking, it's really interesting because the trade unions, in terms of the money they have to put into campaigns during recessions, it goes way down to virtually nothing. But when boom times, they have money, but the money that's going into the campaigns, the real big money, is coming from the black unions. So in other words, they're using like SEIU and AFSCME. They're providing more money than the skilled trade unions, but most importantly, they're providing the votes. They're providing the votes because a lot of these guys wear
How
hard
come
hats.
well, I don't understand, Charles. How come if they do all that, everybody else's pensions and everything is already negotiated, and the teachers are still fighting, it seems to me, now just check this out, because now that I think about this, the police union got their contract negotiated, labor and all those trade unions got their, the people that are fighting are the teachers and AFSCME. Explain.
Well,
So you mean to tell me?
I don't think you need to explain. I don't need to explain any of that. I mean, I think those are the facts. Those are the facts. And when
How come the black people don't get it then? Why don't they? Do
and
they
I'll tell
know
you
this
why.
is happening?
I tell you why. Because of leadership. Leadership. There is no. There are very few sources to get this kind of information that we're sharing right now in the black community, because we don't have media source. And secondly, it's just that we don't. Well, that's it. We're just not. We don't get the information that we need. And the point I wanted to make though is that I live downtown, and I say it all the time. But I walk around these construction sites, man. These guys got Trump on their hard hats. I
Hey
mean,
man, you know, and
a lot of these union guys that are working
that are getting they vote for Trump.
Yeah, they're Republicans. So I mean, the Democrats are not. See, I think that if you had Democratic leadership, if you had Democratic politicians, African Americans, who spoke out about this stuff and called out people, then you would have pressure. You would have they say, well, hey, they know what we're doing now. Because you go to these, you go to these construction sites, they got all these big green, you can't see in there.
Big green.
Yeah, you can't see in there,
Green.
and you can only see up top when they're working up there. You don't see no brothers, but down on the ground either you don't see.
Well, brothers ain't climbing up. Let me just say, till it's a walls, the brothers are not climbing up there.
Man.
Hey, you are tuned into the May Said Video Podcast right here on www.intellectualradio.com. We are an iHeartRadio station. I am live in the building with my guest, my main man, Charles Thomas, who is telling it like a T.I. is, giving it to you the straight dope, the rawest information. You know what, Charles, I enjoy when we get to do these conversations, man, because I really do feel like it's so much information that you have in your mind, and there's so much that you get to see.
I do get to see a lot.
Look to you to interpret, and sometimes you just can't get it done in 3-minute sections.
You can't do it in 3-minute sections. There's just so much going on right now that I think people see those construction sites and they don't see any black people there. But maybe they're wondering, well, why don't I? What's going on? We can't do this work. I think Mayor Emanuel proved that we can do the work when he built the Red Line, and we talked about this last week too, and there were a lot of black people working. So it proved there that, hey, well, we can do it. All we have to do is get the job. Because he made sure when that happened that we worked, because Bobby Rush put a lot of pressure on him. I put a lot of pressure on him because I would always ask questions. No, but he responded. And he makes sure that the public sector projects, at least those that they have direct control over, that the CTA is doing and such, yeah, black folks work. But the vast majority of projects are private sector projects in which black people are not working. They're not hiring African Americans in these places.
Charles, but it seems to me that you would not be able to get, with the number of black elected officials, it seems like you should not be able to get anything done without doing it right.
But they won't say anything because they are beholden to different masters. Did I say that?
You didn't say that.
I mean, but I think
you're the straight guy.
But there's like political allegiances, and there's responsibilities that they have within the party that supersede the responsibilities they should have to their constituents.
Well, why are they more scared of them people than their own community?
I have no idea. I really don't. I mean, I guess because they get paid. I mean, they get the, what is it, $80,000-$90,000 a year.
Well, according to Leslie Munger, they're not going to get that.
Leslie Munger is saying they're not supposed to they can't get paid till they get a budget, but generally speaking, that's their job. Most of these guys, that's their job. Keep in mind that
the white boys, they all lawyers.
Yeah, but if you represent a district, for instance, on the west side or on the south side of Chicago, in a area that would, in a low income area, you're not getting a lot of campaign contributions from people in the district. So you're getting it from outside the district, and the party is generally controlling what you do get. You see, so
So
then,
how do we get free?
huh?
How? So
We-
what
we-
is
we-
the
I
path?
tell you, the path to freedom, it starts here. It starts here in places like this, where I don't know how many people we got listening to us right now.
I mean, get that many right.
Whatever. We don't have that many people listening to us right now.
We get about, before it's over, we have about 1,500.
1,500, but then again, some of these people take this podcast and they put it on their side and they go, we have to start talking to each other, and we have to be, here's the one.
Go ahead.
We have to become honest brokers of our own political power. We have to begin saying, hey, I like some of your ideas, Mr. Republican. I like some of your ideas, Mr. Democrat. I like some of your ideas, Mr. Libertarian. Miss Green, I like your part. I like this, what you say about this. So we start to look at candidates and compartmentalize our project. If we need jobs, maybe this candidate's best. If we need protection from rogue police, that whole piece, maybe we need this candidate over here. But we just can't blanket start pulling a lever for one straight party and make some assumption that just because this guy has a D beside his name that he's going to do the best thing for us.
Hey man,
That's madness,
you
man.
talking blasphemy, bro.
It's
You
absolute
are
blasphemy.
talking blasphemy.
But you know
I mean,
what?
they gonna call you. What you mean?
Well, let me tell you something. I'm an independent, quite frankly.
Okay.
I'm an independent.
All right.
But what I'm saying is,
You ain't a Democrat.
I am an independent. And I tell you, doing this job has made me more of an independent because
How do they look at you with a side eye?
there are good people on both sides of the aisle and bad people on both sides.
We
of the
know
aisle.
some bad people on our side.
Right. So I mean, you have to be able to start. I think we are at the. I said this at a National Association of Black Journalists conference last weekend. Yeah, not this past weekend, but the weekend before last. That I believe that the civil rights era has ended. That civil rights is still an issue, but it's not the issue it was 100 years ago or 50 years ago.
Okay.
I believe that the election of Barack Obama as president of the
This
United
is-
States
This
was a symbolic end
Ooh.
to the civil rights era. Now remember, we had the slavery era, we had the Jim Crow era, and then we had the civil rights era. I believe the civil rights era is nearing an end, and we are moving into something else. We have to start competing in this society on an economic basis, and I think that's the new era. That's the era that we're dawning on right now, and we're going to have to abandon the politics of the 1960s for the politics of the early 21st century, and that's where we become honest brokers of our own political power.
Y'all are not ready for the information that we are giving y'all right here. See, this. Let me tell you why this is so important. Because this is something that they never gonna give you on.
No.
They're never gonna give you this information. They'll never let you have this knowledge, right? Honest brokers of our own political power. Well, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. You know, because it seems like we've had so many dishonest brokers that have. You know, I think that one of the things we gotta do is get over this desire to have a vow of poverty for the people that are legal. Well, I'm not trying to be poor. So you're trying to make everybody poor. You can be poor and conscious. You can be wealthy and conscious.
But let me tell you something. Having a lot of poor people is advantageous to certain politicians because all they can talk about is what kind of poverty program I got for you. I mean, every year at the end of the session in Springfield, you will hear the Black Caucus in mass come up together and they'll start talking about either the programs they did get funded or didn't get funded, and they're all social services programs. Where's the economic development for your community? Why is it I can't go down 79th Street and buy a bottle of pop that looks like, from somebody who looks like me?
You can. They just look, they got straight in them.
Right, but I'm saying that, but I mean, you're not hearing about economic development. You're hearing about this program or that program that will provide,
Some old free subsidized
Free
stuff that
stuff.
keeps us,
right.
again,
Dependent. That's the word.
Keeping us dependent.
dependent. And the thing is, at some point, that's got to end. That whole notion of victimization,
Well,
of
see,
being a
here's the
victim.
thing. It's ended for the world. It's just not ended for us still thinking that they still play.
Because a lot of our leadership is still fostering that whole belief, because that, as long as you are dependent on one party or the other to give you free stuff, then you're dependent and you will always support that party for the free stuff. And that's a lot of what's going on politically in the community. And it's tragic. I mean, because believe me, I'm not against. I think people there's got to be a social services component. My problem is that there's not an economic development.
It seems like we are 100% focused on social
That's it.
services. And we take look, man, I want to participate in government and I want to get some of my government benefits, but I prefer not to have them in food stamps. Now, that's no disrespect, in SNAP or in a link card. But I do believe that there are other ways that our community can participate and take advantage of the benefits of government. We talk about Department of Human Services. They talk about Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, right? So while we over here chasing the foster care issues, they over here chasing the free money to build businesses that allow them to create international wealth. And I think that, Charles, it just seems like we're playing in a ball game that doesn't exist right now, right? We are still trying to justify our place in society based on an old paradigm, fundamentally.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like we don't.
And the thing about the paradigm is that it was a good paradigm when in the civil rights movement. We went with the politicians and the political party that helped the most.
Right.
But that era, nobody's stopping Mays Jackson from going into the Peninsula Hotel to have dinner.
No.
Ain't nobody doing that anymore.
Look at my checkbook.
If they looking at your checkbook, they want to see your checkbook and they want to see how much money you got. And if you ain't got no money, you're not going in there. But nobody's stopping you from doing anything you want to do because of your race. And the other paradoxes are the Oprah Winfreys of the world, or the Michael Jordans, or these people that own these billionaire black folks, the P. Diddy's, the Jay-Z's. I mean, where did these people come from? I mean, where did they come from? How are they making all this money? And then, Ray can't.
Right. Look, man, here's the deal. The fact of the matter is, there is no savior. Ain't nobody, well, let me not say that in that way. I was going to say ain't nobody coming back to get you. It's the fact of the matter is, we have to start playing a different game. And the fact of the matter is, we got to start playing the money game.
Got to start playing the money game.
We got to start playing
It's
the
called
money
the free
game.
market game. It's called free market economics. And we need some of that in the African American community. And because right now, there is none of that going on in the community, so we need some of that too. Now, if this politician over here is talking about that, and he wants to encourage that, then we got to say, okay, let me see what you can do.
Let me
And
get
that's
some
all
of
I'm
that.
saying.
Let me
That's all
get
I'm
some
saying.
of
And that's my experience covering politics, is that I see that this is more than a Democrat versus Republican, conservative versus progressive game here. This is about getting what you can get for your community when it's available and when it's offered.
Right. Last, real quick, we got 2 minutes. Did you see Birth of a Nation?
I have not seen it yet.
Man, brother, you ain't
I
seen the
haven't,
Birth
man.
of
I've
a
been
Nation.
busy, man. I've been trying to
Charlie
cover a
T, this is
campaign.
the big deal.
I know,
Look,
but
they
I've been
said
trying
it
to
was a
cover a
flop
campaign,
because
man.
they already.
But they tried to dog the brother out.
They tried to dog. I don't know when acquitted means acquitted, right? I don't know. And then they used the sister Robin Roberts to do it all. But, hey, man, That was a good movie, bro.
I gotta
That was a
check it
good
out.
movie, and I want you to. We need to sponsor a screening for some of the black folks in Illinois, so that they can see what Nat Turner learned. Now, you know, man, I want to just say this: for our Democrats, what I think they could have seen was the fact that they taught. Nat Turner realized that they was teaching slaves to be slaves out the same Bible that they was teaching rich white people to be oppressors. Hey, black Democrats, ever notice y'all all broke and they all kicking it? Same book, same Bible. How come? What's the difference between black Democrats and white Democrats?
It's a joke.
It's not a joke.
What?
They poor and broke, dog. Hey, I'm just joking. You are tuned in. You are tuned in, and you have been tuned in to the May Said Video Podcast right here on WWW Intellectual Radio. We are an iHeartRadio station. Stay tuned to us every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You know what? While you got your Monday Night Football on, turn the volume down. You can watch the game while you listen to us, but you know it's even better when you tune in. I want to thank my special guest, as always, Charles Thomas, for giving us insights, having his catharsis right here with us.
Yeah, man. It's my catharsis.
Your catharsis.
You learned a new word.
New
today.
word.
That's the
you
word
know,
of the
actually,
night.
I learned that word from Miss Legacy back in my junior year when I was in
When we do that, man, we
class.
have a word of the week.
Word of the week.
Word of the week, man.
All right. You are tuned into the talking. Oh, listen to me. I was about to say, you are tuned into Intellectual Radio, WWW Intellectual Radio. We are an iHeart radio station. We'll be back next Monday. Peace. I'm not gonna get you back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we know we still live. I don't like my coffee straight black though.
That was a metaphor. You get what I'm saying?
I know.
I thought you was gonna catch that. I thought you was gonna
Yeah, they're gonna put an X on me, man. The Eagles gonna put an X on me, but I can't help it, man. Somebody gotta say that. they're gonna put an X on me, man. But that's alright.
Hey y'all, we be talking that real dirt up in here.
What?
Hey man, while the team is chilling, we don't want to take one for the team. Hey yo, it's your man Mace Jackson. We are out of here. Peace.